Dear Father, can you hear me? I'm all alone and I'm feeling empty. I'm paranoid, so I keep the blicky. Had to leave you in the past, cause you won't rhyme with me. Dear Father, can you hear me? I'm all alone and I'm feeling empty. I'm paranoid, so I keep the blicky. Had to leave you in the past, cause you won't rhyme with me.
Dreaming, but I'm still woke. Praying, but I'm losing hope. Standing, but I'm falling slow. I'm all alone, you wouldn't know. Picture me rolling, got them bands on me. A Cuban link, 4 whips, you niggas couldn't be me. I've been through a long road, wanna throw in the towel.
Shout out to dads everywhere. I'm James Gunter.
I'm John Sams.
And this is Present Pillars. So we started this movement to highlight all aspects of fatherhood, the good, the bad, and the ugly. If you don't take anything from this show, just take this one thing. All good dads are present dads first. So our guest today is Jennings, the teacher, the husband, the poet, the author, the father. How you feeling today?
Feeling even better after listening to what all you used to highlight me. I appreciate that. But aside from that, man, I just appreciate being on this platform and getting an opportunity to share some of my authentic self with some of the other dads of the world who are trying to get it done just like I am, man.
Yes, sir.
And we're blessed to have you, man. So we're gonna get right into it. Just tell us a little about yourself.
Oh man, I'm a Ben Harbor lifer. You know, again, some of the things that he noted, the teacher and the coach, you know, this is almost my 20th year, actually. I started in 2002 as an educator in Ben Harbor area schools, and I've spent probably 15 of the last 19 years teaching and coaching in the district. I've coached baseball as the varsity head coach for the past 12 years, and also poetry. I'm a member of the spoken word group here in Ben Harbor called Poetry. Shout out to the president, Nikki Yates.
Shout out Yates.
Right. And you know, I run a nonprofit organization called Neighborhood Community Connections. That's all community involved, and I run my own business called Know You're Inspired, which everything I do for the most part, well, not even for the most part, everything I do is centered around servanthood. So everything I can do, I can try to give back, try to share some experiences, share some education, share some opportunities, and hopefully our people can pull from it and make themselves better.
Could you tell us what know you means?
Know you is nobody owes you anything.
Damn right.
Right. So it came from, it derived, so this is what I believe truly. You know, in some circumstances and aspects, you are owed something from certain people, like us having children, for instance. We owe our kids things. There are things your boss owes you. You're owed a paycheck at your job and stuff like that. So I don't want to get it twisted that this is a strong, firm belief. But what I had to do was utilize this mindset to help me get through some certain things, because the struggles led me to blaming folks. You know, when I was hitting walls and being passed over for opportunities and certain things weren't going in the way that I thought they should have gone, I was saying, man, if they give me an opportunity, or man, they're not listening, or man, she's not, you know, being what I thought she should have been.
Yeah.
And you know what? I said, what I need to do is figure out what I can do, how I can do it to make everything better. So what I'm gonna do is stop pointing fingers. I'm gonna stop blaming folks. I'm gonna stop putting the onus on another person to make sure my situations go well. I'm gonna do everything I can, and that way I don't have anybody to blame. So don't nobody owe me anything. And I took that and ran with it, man.
That's pivotal. Accountability.
Wrote a book.
Wrote 2 books. Shout out the books.
Wrote 2 books.
Shout out the books out.
Yeah, nobody owes you anything, man. It's on Amazon, but that's not what I'm here for. Yeah.
But no, speaking of accountability, when it comes to fatherhood, that's why you're here, like you said, being a black father first. How many kids do you have?
I had 8 children biological and 2 bonus, and then a host of people I done taught and coached who call me Pops. So.
Dope. When did you have your first kid?
I was 22, full-time student athlete at KVCC, when my son Rayante, who's currently the commissioner in St. Joe County, Rayante Bell's my firstborn.
Full circle. Full circle.
That's huge.
How did that affect you? College athlete having a kid.
Oh man, whew. It was tougher because it was that single parenting type of situation. You know, I believe if his mom and I were in a more stable situation, it would have been a little easier for me. But since we were, you know, the breakup and to get back together, and I want to do my own thing, so then that became difficult being a father as well. And I lived in Kalamazoo. So I'm living in Kalamazoo, he's living in Benton Harbor. And it was a struggle in terms of time and in terms of being there when I needed to be there. It was phone calls where, oh shoot, you know, he needs some Pampers or something like that. And how am I gonna make this happen? So I need to call somebody in Benton Harbor to make sure they get it to him and stuff like that. So those things I wish were different. That way I could have built a better relationship with him earlier. But we got it all figured out though. You know, it took a minute though. That was tough to do on the onset.
So like, what's the age range of your kids now?
Everything from 4 to 22.
4 to 22.
Yep. 23. Take that back. He just turned 23.
He'll whoop your ass.
Yeah. He just turned 23 in August. 8998. Yeah. So I got a 23-year-old and I got a 4-year-old, and she's brought me all the way back to. You know what's peculiar about all this, man? I didn't want this situation, you know, where you got this wide range as far as the ages, but the more mature me and the more sensitive me and the more, oh, I love my kid type of situation, like it don't matter what you say or how you say it, this little girl is about her, and I don't care what mama say, daddy say, this is my lady. So it's different now because I can't imagine being out of town and she being in another town. Like I couldn't even live like that if we were in different states, different cities. So,
yeah, I know. Well, actually, probably me and John can relate with that a little. Me, not so much. I was away from mine for a couple months, but I know he lives that life too. So
yeah, man.
A lot of dads live that life. So
we had that conversation recently, actually, just talking about how difficult it is, man. Because that was the when I had my first kids and I was out of town. And then I after that, so he born in 98, 99, I take a scholarship down to Memphis. So he's 1 and I'm 600 miles away instead of 45 minutes away. So it was an even different type of distance that was between us. So now I'm only gonna see you Christmas break or something like that, because I can't just run up and down the highway knowing I'm a baseball player and a college student and broke.
And it's before FaceTime.
Yeah. This is before FaceTime. Yeah. This is before Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
What would you think your greatest memory with your kids?
My greatest memory, I've seen 4 of them graduate high school. So I've been present. I've seen each of them born except for 1. So obviously those were precious moments. But I seeing 4 of them graduate, receiving joint custody in my divorce, that's a highlight that I can't overstate by no stretch of the imagination, because ultimately what happens then is you get a chance to build your relationship with your children yourself. The narrative is not created by somebody else or controlled by somebody else. So no matter how it goes when you're there, I know how it goes when you're here. So what we have is what we have, and you get to know me yourself. So that was like that might have been the greatest, although, I don't want to make any of my other children feel like,
Right.
But
please don't whoop his ass.
Yeah. I mean, I got 4 that, like I said, graduated high school, so they might form a mutiny and come after me. But
probably be the strongest for it too.
They the oldest, so they definitely the oldest for us, so they coming. But they know what it is, man. We got a group chat where I talk to all of them.
Oh, that's dope.
It's frequent. This morning I sent out a first day of school to some college students, some high school students, middle school students. Everybody got, like I say, I got across the spectrum. So from age all the way up, from 4 to 23. So, that's the best form of communication I can come up with when we're talking about how do I talk to all of them.
But you were trying that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Because that's why we're here in the first place. Being active, being present, doesn't mean you physically there. It means are you in these kids' lives? And obviously you are.
There's not one that could say anything different.
Right.
There's not a week that passes that I don't have some form of communication with all 8, and then my 2 bonuses live with me. So
yeah. What's your dad's style? Like, how do you father?
I like to think that I primarily lead by example. I think the best way to teach my boys how to treat a woman is have them in my house watching how I treat my wife. I think the best way to teach them how to lead and how to provide and how to love is for them to see me love them, see me provide for them, watch me get up every day and go to work, take them to the park when I'm coaching, just allowing you to be present to see who your dad is, how your dad is, and this is something that I could pull from to make a part of my life as well, or at least I can feel good about who my father is and see the things that he's doing and know that I got a good man in my life. So I'm primarily that person. I'm growing to the point where I'm becoming more vocal because I now understand how important it is to talk to, because a lot of it was, if they're seeing me do this stuff, they should be picking up and understanding. But I know that's me predominantly, but I'm coming out of that shell because I just never wanted to be forceful. Like, I don't want you to do this because I'm saying do it. Or I don't want you to be this person because I'm telling you to be this person. And even in the feuds, and I don't mind saying this stuff either, it's time. You know, we're trying to make it right for everybody who's listening. So, you know, even in the feuds with the mom or something, just because she's saying these things about me, I don't want to say no things about her. Because I don't want you to believe that your dad is like that. I know that's your mother. That's the apple of your eye. How dare I be the person to dog her out? But what I will do now is defend myself. I used to wouldn't even do that. But now it'll be, no. She lying. And I don't know why she lying, but let me tell you what the truth is. So I'll do that now. Still, I don't drag them out. I don't put them under the bus or under the rug or none of that stuff. I don't say deep, detailed stuff that kids shouldn't know anyway.
Right.
You know, I'm not having a conversation about who she dealing with and stuff like that with no child. That's not their business. But what you won't do is drag me and think I'm gonna let you do that to my children too.
And I think it's fair that you can defend yourself, right? Because your kids need to understand that you are man first, right? And a father, well, first 1.5, you know what I'm saying?
No doubt, one A and one B.
Yeah. So you talked about your father's style and how you teach your kids, but did you have a father in your life, a role model?
I had a grandfather. My father was absent. He was around, but he wasn't around me. You know, it was like, you know, so I grew up next to Broadway Park. So that was my backyard. I went out the house and went to Broadway Park. I would see him out there hooping.
Oh, wow.
I would see him out there just chopping it up, doing stuff with other people. He would acknowledge me. He's never been like, hey, my son type of deal, but we've never had a relationship beyond me seeing you hoop or me seeing you walk up and down the street. There was never you came to my house and picked me up. There was never you made a phone call to talk to me. It was just, I see you, I know where you at. Hey, y'all, and they like, hey, there go little daddy, hey, there go big daddy right there. Yeah, hey, there go my daddy. That's our relationship. That's the whole gist of my relationship with my father growing up.
Wow. Was that like one of the major motivating factors in how you decided to be a dad?
It was the motivating factor for why I stayed in bad relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never wanted to be absent because of how that made me feel growing up. So even though this wasn't working, and I'm not even gonna talk about whose fault it was that it was a bad relationship. Bad, it was just bad. If it didn't work, it didn't work. It wasn't going well, it wasn't going well. But how can I remove myself from this? And I got kids that live there. So I gotta try to work this out. You can't be gone, I don't care. I will be here in spite of what's going on with the woman. Like she could be the worst in the world and I'm still gonna be here. Fortunately, you know, things happen, things change, and it was like, all right, they're not getting the best of me because you're getting angry, unhappy, feelings hurt, miserable, just going through whatever you're going through. So they're not getting the best of me. So why am I giving them less than who I really can be? So I grew out of that. But the relationship with my dad made me feel like they can't have that relationship with me. So I gotta be here, but not knowing that they can still have a great relationship with me, whether I stay here or not.
Right. So what was your granddad like?
He was the quintessential lead by example type of person. I don't even remember, I was telling somebody this recently, I don't remember a day that I heard I love you from my grandfather, but I also don't remember a day feeling like he didn't. Yeah. So he was the provider, he was the take me to the carnival, like he was the show up at my football games. He was the one there. We had no real conversations. You know, I tell people I haven't learned anything from him teaching me something. It was more just me watching. You know, he out there changing tires and I'm just there. So I'm picking up on what boats to get off this mud, what order to go in and stuff like that. I'm just picking up, he checking the oil in the cars and I'm just out there. But I'm just there really and I'm just picking this stuff up. And that was the father. That was the father. So it's some stuff I feel like he missed. He dropped the ball on, but I know it wasn't intentional. I know it wasn't him being disingenuous or anything. It's just, he didn't know any better. They migrated from Mississippi with 8th grade educations, jumped in this industry, this automotive industry.
Yeah.
And you know, back then, you know, you migrated, let me see, 60s. You can grind and live well in factory work. So that's what they did. So it was, I go to work every day, you got something to eat, you got a roof, you got clothes on your back. That's me showing you I love you. So it was some stuff that I'm like, okay, but I did learn that I wish, you know, you're a little more hands-on, showed a little more love. So that's what I try to do to my kid. Be a little more hands-on, show a little more love. So, but the other stuff I learned from my grandfather, shoot, you can't replace it. I can't repay it. And I hope I can pass some of it down.
Invaluable.
Man,
Invaluable.
that's something I want that clip. What he just said, I want that clip. Look, man, could you say that one more time?
No.
So
I'll freestyling. So this ain't on script.
So
we'll
tell me
get
like,
it. We'll get
tell
it.
me like a time where maybe one of your adult kids told you about a time that they didn't appreciate or like something that they challenged you on, like, Dad, why did you do this way?
Man, that's a good one. So my daughter, my oldest daughter, Danielle. Yeah, I don't know, she might be mad that I put it out here on blast, but
We love you, Danielle.
She's sorry.
That's
She's
my
sorry.
baby though. She loves me. She loves me and I love her too. She, shoot, her birthday is the 9th. What's the day?
7.
All right.
2 more days.
All right, her birthday is, I'll be like, golly, today the 9th, is it? I'm talking about Danielle. So anyway, 9/9/2000.
Hey, he got a song. It's like
Yeah. So anyway,
it's a poem
man,
with
y'all
all your
got me
birthdays in
checking
it.
myself. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on.
Like a juvenile beat.
Before I say anything about D, let me say happy birthday, girl. But no, man, we had a little misunderstanding, a little fallout, and we never got to the bottom of it. We just came back together. See, what happened is, probably around this time a year ago, we just didn't talk anymore. And I'm wondering why. I'm sending text messages and I'm like, hey, what's going on? How you doing? And say something. You know, like, this your number still? I hit her mama up, like, did she got the same number? Like, yeah. So, okay, well, she ain't saying nothing to me. She had some gripe with me. Just so happened, I'm coaching baseball. One of the little boys, she's around all the time. So she's coming to support him and he on my team. Hey girl, what you doing here? I be coming all the time, you never say nothing to me. So you saying I'm looking at you as my child and I'm not saying anything to you intentionally. I ain't seen you. Well, I don't know what tree you hiding behind at the field or how you getting it figured out, but I wouldn't dare see you and not talk to you. So how about this? Father's Day in a couple days. This is a couple months ago. Father's Day in a couple days. I'd love to see my daughter at my house. She came over with a card, $50, kicked it with us the whole day. I ain't even ask her why you ain't talk to me. I don't even care. You back. So that's the best response I can give you. As far as, when I've been checked. My oldest son done came at me a couple times, just regarding how me and his mother had exchanges. Like, yeah, Dad, you probably should have. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. But man, look, I can't take all this mess all the time. So I'm going to say something. So, stuff like that though, because we ain't had no real clashes where I'd have had a real fallout with any of my kids. So.
Knowing that you've been in a relationship and been divorced, did you ever think you get back married?
No. I'm glad you asked that. I told my wife this. I'm gonna do you one better. She didn't care if we got married or not. she wasn't the type. Her parents were together for, I don't know, 40 some odd years and never got married. So she was of the thought that as long as we're together, long as we're, running this house the right way and you treat me right, we can be together. We ain't got to get married. But in my mind, what I wanted in a wife, she represented all that. And it was everything that I didn't get in my first marriage. And I was like, shoot, it's possible. It's out here. I just was married and never felt this way. So if we gonna do this, we gonna really do this. God dog it. We're not about to play this shack thing. We ain't finna shack it and stuff. And no, you are a woman I don't want to share with nobody. You are a woman I want to grow old with. You are a woman that treat my kids right. You do your kids right. All this stuff that I've been looking for probably since I've been grown, just wasn't ready to do it. Even though I'm looking for it, I ain't nothing either early on. Yeah. So, let me make sure I'm clear on, I own some of that why stuff ain't work with other people stuff. But I'm like, this right here though, shoot, man, this woman is everything. Let me find a ring and pick out a date and find somebody to cook a cake and it's about to go down.
Was your kids at the wedding?
All of them.
Oh, that's dope.
So watch this. The first time all 8 of my biological was in the same room at the same time. Because I got a 18-year-old son who live in Houston and I got a 4-year-old. So it's rare that them two are in the same place at the same time. That's the biggest problem. Everybody else is easy to come together, but those two were difficult. So that was the first time. The one time he was around her before that, my oldest daughter was beefing with me. So that was one. So it was like, I got 7 right here and this girl ain't here. So all of them were there. Watch how great this stuff is because it kind of come full circle. My first kid's mom is the one who rounded all the kids up at the wedding.
Wow.
You hear me say at the wedding.
At the wedding.
So that's saying she came to the wedding. That was big in itself. Then she's rounding up all the kids, her kids and my other kids, saying she want to take a picture. And I'm just sitting there with tears in my eye, just sitting watching. Like, I got to go get in the picture at some point. But right now, I'm just going to sit back and enjoy this.
Take that in.
Take it in.
I'm going to sit back and enjoy this. They all smiling and hugging and dressed alike. And whew, that was the moment. Yeah, that was the moment. And then, they talk. Even without me, all my kids have relationships with each other. And that's everything. Because I'm like, I haven't told them that before. Even if you don't talk to me, talk to each other. You shouldn't have siblings out here that you don't even have a conversation with. Y'all got cell phones.
Preach.
We got cell phones. You got FaceTime. You got social media. You got
group watch on Disney Plus.
You got you got all these ways to keep in contact. Cause I got like 10 siblings, all spread around the Midwest for the most part, and we talk. I talk to all of them. All of them I know about.
Rolling Stones, motherfucker.
We weren't gonna say it, but
yeah. All of them I know about, I talk to them. So I know you young ones, y'all got more opportunity to keep relationships, keep the fire burning, and always know what's going on in each other's lives. Somebody having a baby, I don't have any grandkids yet. Would have would.
Hey, it's funny because I almost leaned over so he could do it.
I was like, I don't know no motherfucking would.
So I'm like, I don't have any grandkids yet, but shoot, one of them have a kid, all these siblings should be there. You should be outside the hospital if you can't get in the room waiting to congratulate and celebrate. So,
but you created that.
Yeah.
By you healing the past, by you being accountable, by your ownership, being honest and open, that's how that came apart, right? And people can and feed off your energy. Like that's why I say, you got to be the first one on the show. It's a motherfucker that we need. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Plus, with us being new to the game too, it's like a learning curve for us as well. So it's like you came on here and I feel like you interviewed us for real.
It's been a process though. Nothing that all came together overnight. You just constantly going through enough that makes you feel like, all right, this ain't going right, I'm finna step away. That's one of the big mistakes. I think that was one of the questions actually on the forum. I kind of, one of my biggest mistakes or regrets is you feuding with the mother and you like, man, I don't gotta hear this mess. And now you step back for 2 weeks. And then you go back in and we good for a week or 10 days or something, and then we have another spat and you step away for 2 weeks. Now, this time it's 3 weeks. So now I'm more aggressively intentional. Like, there's nothing you can say to me. I don't care what me and my ex-wife go through. She ain't gonna stop me from reaching out to Chloe. And them got phones now. I ain't gotta talk to you to talk to her. But I ain't gonna not talk to her. You know, Brian got football today. He with her, I'll be at that field though. So, but it used to be, he with her, I already know she go act funny, he go act funny. I don't even wanna put them in that predicament, so I'm gonna stay away. I ain't saving nobody's face. Now, I'm going to see my kid, I'm going to be with my kid, I'm going to talk to my kid. I don't care who don't like it, I don't care who's disturbed, I don't care who's uncomfortable. If my kid there, I better be welcome. So, as long as I ain't coming in your house, I ain't going over there. But aside from that, if my kid there, or my kid a part of it, ain't nobody telling me nothing different. That's the one thing I wish I did differently early on.
That's really cool. I actually made a Facebook post not too long ago, and I was asking, what is a good dad? And one of the commenters said, a good dad is a dad that when something's going on and when something great happens, they want to make sure daddy knows, right? Mm-hmm. So I thought that was a really cool thing to say. And that's kind of like what came to my mind when you said that. So
I remember when we first had kind of fell out, me and my ex-wife, I showed up at the football field one time and my son was like scared to speak to me. He was like, and that right there, that little gesture alone told me the way this is operating isn't right. It ain't even about the divorce or the separation. The way we handling it isn't right. For him to feel like that's what he got to do, I got to figure something out. Regardless of what she got going on, I ain't, we can negotiate or we can't negotiate it. It's whatever. Even if we never talk, this can't be his demeanor. Once the joint custody and all that, once we got all that squared away and they were with me every other week, now they're, even if she don't say a word to me, neither one of them walking away without saying anything to me.
Right.
Ever. I'm talking flamboyantly too. Like, hey Dad, love you. And I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, God dog it, we're there. We've arrived.
And that's how it should be.
Yeah, we've arrived, dog it. They ain't studying none of the extra. They know who they got and they know how I treat them and they go reciprocate it.
So hit us with your best co-parenting advice.
Gotta give a shout out to 2, no question. My son that live in Texas, he been there since he was 1. Well, he went to Mississippi first, then Texas. His mom has never kept me in the dark about anything. I actually kind of got a small regret of signing off on it because it was like, once we kind of split up and I'm on child support and stuff like that, she had to come to me to be able to move because she's in the system. So I had to agree. And at the time I was like, all right, she want to go do her thing, and maybe it would be better for him down there, I don't know. But I wasn't thinking about how it'd be for me and him. So I wouldn't have done it. Fortunately, I did it, and the woman that I did it with or did it for was never that type to keep me away from him or keep him away from me. So I'm a part of everything. Like there's times where she called me and be like, maybe I should send him to stay with you for a little while because I'm dealing with this and then we mess around and figure out what it's all gonna take, and she'd be like, all right, maybe he can stay there for a week and you send him back and stuff like that. But it's always an opportunity for me to contribute. Like he can be going through something, whether it's school, whether it's health, anything. It's always open communication. So I appreciate that. I applaud that. I went to the funeral, wow. The graduation. I guess the funeral is he killed high school.
The end.
Golly, how in the world? Anyway, he
killed, blinded the camera.
He killed high school. So And she's married. So that's the other thing. Her husband and I, there was a time when he was 3 or 4, I'd make that phone call and he'd answer and he'd try to give me some pointers on what's going on and talking about my son. And I'm thinking to myself, man, no another man telling me nothing about my son. But I had to grow up. She'd have moved on. How dare I say can't no other man be? I'm glad it's somebody who's in there who can tell me about my son, because she could be with somebody who don't know nothing about my son or care nothing about my son or want nothing to do with my son. And that's a worse situation for my son. So now I go to Houston, me and him go out, his stepdaddy. We'll hit the club and sit down and take some adult beverages down and kick it and talk stuff. And I may not even see my son that day. I'd have slept in their house. No ifs, ands, or buts. Like, I ain't even got to ask. They like, oh yeah, you just got here. You ain't got to worry about getting no room tonight and stuff like that. Like, literally. So that's like the best thing I have. But when you talk about the advice, what I would say is be open and honest. Be understanding that this ain't your woman no more, and you ain't her man. So there are things that's gonna go on that you might not appreciate or like, but if it ain't negatively impacting your kid, you shouldn't have anything to say. So leave it alone, let it go. It is what it is. Because my situation, like again, I just said Maria was at the wedding. It took us a while, but what we have right now is awesome. My other daughter now, I don't even have joint custody with her, and she's at my house like I got joint custody. So now it's beautiful.
So we're gonna wrap it up, but give the audience some final advice on what you would have done in your younger self.
My younger self, I would have just been, I would have fought to be more of a presence. When she don't want to deal with me or she stopped answering the phone, I can't just say, all right, well, she ain't answering the phone. I gotta say, well, I'm coming to knock on the door. And if don't nobody answer, I'll be back tomorrow. If don't nobody answer, all right, what time is school? Where they go to church? And what? I gotta make myself available and present a whole lot more regardless of what's standing in my way. That's what I do now. I wish I'd have did that at 22, 23, 24, 25 though, because I allowed myself to step away a few times because I didn't want the drama. But if I got a choice to choose drama, seeing my kids, or no drama, give me the drama, because I'm coming to see them.
All the smoke.
Yeah.
Makes sense to me.
All right, Coach, this is a pleasure, man.
Yes, sir.
What you got?
Oh yeah, shout out his books. Let us know what you got there.
All right, so the Nobody Owes You Anything. This is autobiographical. This is primarily kind of like the walk of growing up in Broadway Park, encountering all that came with that. Those of you who know about Ben Harbor, know about Broadway Park, you probably understand without me explaining. But drug-infested environment, it was a misdemeanor at least every time I walked out the house. And that's pretty much how I lived. I didn't live running that life because I had a man at the house that I was scared of. So respectfully feared the person who was raising me. So it was, but you got to figure out how to navigate the whole process because you're growing up around people who don't have the drive and goals and ambitions and intelligence. And, so what can I do to kind of stray on a straight and narrow instead of, although I can't be a part of this, I want to be a part of this. Because all them was dice gang banging, and dope slanging. And that was it. So I had to figure out how to climb out of that. And this primarily gives you a whole sequential experience of kind of how I managed that process. This one, baseball black then and white now. I played on words where you can say back then and right now, but it's black then and white now because predominantly this sport, along with boxing, Black people love. It was the one that Black people played endlessly. This is the one, do you know who I'm talking to the camera now. Do you know who the first Black to ever play in the NBA is? No. Do you know who the first Black to play in the NFL is? No. Why is it such a big deal that everybody know Jackie Robinson though? Because this is the one. This is the sport that they wanted to keep to themselves. They want it so badly. This is the gentleman's game. They've done so many things to try to create a barrier around it to keep us out of it, because this was the one that you don't have to be the freak of nature athlete. You know, if you can run and jump and all that stuff as a football player or a basketball player, you go be superior. In this one, you can run and jump all you want. If you can't hit it, catch it, and throw it, you're in trouble. So they figured this is the one we can keep to ourselves because these athletes can't just come take it from us. They ain't take it from me. And I'm trying to make sure that the black people around here understand that let's not let them take it from you either. There was a time when it was 18.6% African Americans in the MLB in the 80s. Now it's down to 7.7%. That happened strategically. And this right here tell you all about how it all happened. That's what I talked about. And the guy who's in the picture with me, Reginald Howard, former Negro Leagues player, this is a mentor of mine, who basically I told him how I felt about everything, and then he gave me all the facts of how it all came together. So we took both of our thoughts and put a publication together, all for you. Both are available on Amazon.
Amazing. So are there any events or anything like that that you want the audience to be aware of?
Actually, tomorrow is our first day of fall baseball camp. It's ages 8 to 14. It's at Ben Harbor High School. We were doing it at Union, but they're not done with the renovations over there. So we changed the location to Ben Harbor High School. We'll go from 6 to 8. It's $25. And we'll go all the way through mid-October, basically till it's too cold to be out there. So we'll go on Wednesdays, we'll go on Sundays from 3:30 to 5:30. So Wednesdays 6 to 8, Sundays 3:30 to 5:30, getting straight, raw camp skills, building the fundamentals and understanding the game.
All right.
Coach, it's been a pleasure.
Likewise. I appreciate y'all having me.
Thank you for being honest and transparent, because you will help some other fathers out there. You helped us just by your conversation today.
Sure.
And that's it, man. Present Pillars, man. Y'all watch our shit.
Right on. Number love. Watch our shit.
What's up, Pops? Being a good dad isn't easy, and no dad is perfect. What we learned today is to keep your kids on the forefront of your decisions, and everything will work itself out. Your presence is greater than any presence you could ever give. You can only control what you can control. And regardless of who's saying what, remember, bees don't waste their time explaining to flies why honey tastes better than shit. Tune in next time to Present Pillars.
Hey guys, remember to like, subscribe, and ring that bell
for notifications on our next episode.
I'm all alone and I'm feeling empty. I'm paranoid, so I keep the blicky. Had to leave you in the past cause you won't rhyme with me.